Where does the actual phrase, the Holy Spirit, show up in the Old Testament? Interestingly, that actual phrase only shows up 3 times. We can walk through each of these. Psalm 51:11, this is the famous Psalm of King David, where David is pleading out to the Lord, "Do not banish me from your presence, or take your Holy Spirit from me." So we have that sense of the Holy Spirit from me. We're going to talk about this later, but we get the sense that when the Spirit is with us, life is with us. But when the Spirit of God is departed away from us, this is where death and decaying begins to take place. David is very well aware of this reality, and this is why he's begging, he's pleading with the Lord, "Do not take the Spirit of vitality, your Holy Spirit that keeps me sustained and living and alive, away from me." Isaiah 63:10. It says, "But they rebelled and grieved his Holy Spirit." We talked about this in an earlier module. They grieved the Holy Spirit, so he became their enemy and fought against them. And then we have Isaiah 63:11 right after this. "Then he remembered the days of the past, the days of Moses and his people. Where is he who brought them out of the sea with the shepherds of his flock?" Super important in the Old Testament. Where is he, this is Yahweh, who put his Holy Spirit among the flock? Isaiah 63:11. When we look at the work of the Holy Spirit, the work of Ruach in the Old Testament, we see it vitally in 2 specific kind of categories or areas. The first one is the charismatic leadership in the early period before kingship, right? We think about the reality of the Spirit empowering Moses, the reality of the Spirit empowering the 70 elders. We're going to talk about this more in a later module. The reality of the Spirit coming upon and working through the various judges of the Old Testament. How the Holy Spirit is the one who gives the language and the voice and the message for the Old Testament prophets of God to speak. So you've got the sense that the Holy Spirit in the Old Testament is leading, is guiding, is empowering, is equipping. And then the second area is that the Holy Spirit is involved in ecstatic prophecy. This just simply means, a technical kind of phrase, but it just simply means that the Spirit of God is always bringing the message of God to the people of God. The Spirit of God is always in the work, in the habit, in the manner of bringing the message of God to the people of God.